Hello, everyone. Welcome. Today I am reading the final chapter of my first book, Perception, The Two Yet One, Book 1. I'm really excited to get to be finished today. Oh, my stuff is moving around here. Welcome everyone. Please share if you're here on Facebook. I'm not going to be responding to comments once I start reading. I always apologize for the mirroring going on. I'm doing this from my phone. Please share this out. I'm doing this so that I can, share the story, but also to get it out there. I want everyone to, as many people as possible, to know about my book. If you're watching me on YouTube, please like, comment, share, all of that would be awesome. Thank you so much, everyone. This has been a lot of fun reading it out loud. Just one chapter left, so I'm wearing my Sunshine on My Mind shirt today for sunshine. Hi, Roseanne. Love you too. I will not be reading the second book, so I'm hoping that reading book 1 out loud will cause some more book sales. So tell a friend. If you know anyone who can help me get my books out, getting a literary agent can be pretty hard, and so I need some help. If anybody knows how to help me, if anybody's got a friend who might be able to help me, if you have any suggestions, go ahead and let me know. All right, so let's get into this. Chapter 18. Now, I'll just say, I'm just going to repeat the last bit of chapter 17, so we know where we are. This was Aunt Marie. Luna, dear, there's something that I need to tell you, said Marie slowly. Something I need to tell you, both. Okay. Chapter 18, Something Different. 10:08 p.m. Friday, September 2nd, 2011. Both of us? Luna asked. Marie nodded. That day, dears, began Marie, there was something different about it. When it was time to leave the beach, do you remember? Oh yes, Luna remembered how she didn't want to leave Sunny, how they had declared their love. But it was puppy love, Luna, she thought. Oh, that's another thing I always clarify. I have the thoughts in italics, but when I'm reading it to you, I'll just say she thought or he thought. And there's these little stars that separate the sections, and so that's when I say change in perspective, even though sometimes it's just fast forwarding. Okay. She became nervous. She didn't want her aunt to ruin anything between her and Sunny by bringing this up too soon, but it looked like it might happen anyway. Got this fuzziness going on in my hair right here. I remember, murmured Sunny. Oh, thought Luna. Neither of you wanted to leave, continued Marie. You both held on to the other, quite determinedly, so that you couldn't be separated. Sunny glanced at Luna. She couldn't hold his gaze and looked away. Oh my God, Auntie, please don't, she thought. But it was the moment you two held one another. Something something wondrous happened. Wondrous? Thought Luna. Sonny, it seemed as though only your mother and I saw it, but... My mom? Sonny asked. Yes, dear, replied Marie. I suppose she never told you? Sonny's face pinched. Luna knew he wouldn't, so she explained. Sonny's mom passed away, Auntie, murmured Luna, a long time ago. Oh, dear, Sonny darling, I'm so sorry. I could tell from my interaction with her that she was a lovely person. Sonny sighed. That's okay, thank you. But you were saying? Before continuing, Marie glanced at Luna as if to tell Luna she was sorry to have brought that up. Yes, as I was saying, dear, the moment you two touched, we saw a flash of light that... What? Interrupted Sonny. A flash of light? Luna was as shocked as Sonny. A flash of light? What the... she thought. Yes, dear, a flash of clear light. It spread out as far as I could see. From the way your mother was acting and looking at me, I'm relatively certain she saw it. No, I am certain. My intuition was telling me so. In fact, dears, that was the day I actually developed my intuition, just after the light flashed through my body, which felt like love, pure, wonderful love. Marie gave them a moment to process that. Luna's aunt had said the L word, but that barely mattered right now because she had also said that a flash of light had emitted from them during their loving embrace. You didn't have intuition before that happened? Sonny asked in amazement. Marie nodded. Sonny sat back and blew a breath out. Change in perspective. Should I tell them? He thought. They were both looking at him as if they were open to anything he might tell them. They looked so alike, as if Luna were a younger copy of Marie. They were both blinking at him the exact same way, with the exact same eyes, sincere interest clear in them. Okay, I'm pretty certain that I'm the one who generated that pulse. Their eyebrows lifted. Higher. I've done it twice in the last couple months, once by accident. Actually, pure luck. And then once on purpose, tonight, on the men in suits who attacked us. Dark spirits don't seem to like my energy ball, or flash of light, as you called it. It's the love, murmured Marie. On purpose? Luna asked Sonny, barely registering her aunt's choice of words. How? I don't know, I just start feeling weird, like I begin to perceive the reality of the concept of microcosm and macrocosm. Luna looked like someone had just told her that a huge spider was on her back, but Sonny didn't ask what was the matter with her. He wanted to spit his story out. It swoops back and forth. It's really hard to control. I have to grit my teeth, but I envision my personal, it's electromagnetic energy that all bodies have. I envision it growing into a ball until it's pretty powerful, and then I somehow use my heart to emit it. The women were completely silent. He didn't want to look at them, at their reaction. He was still used to being chastised by people for being different or weird. The silence was palpable. Fuck, you shouldn't have said anything, he thought. I get that swooping sensation too, Sonny, whispered Luna. Quickly, he turned his head to her. Her eyes had a faraway look in them. He could tell she was telling the truth, but there was a hint of that PTSD thing that he had seen in her the day before. Marie's hand flew to cover her heart. Luna, darling. Oh, sweetheart, you two really are special, aren't you? Pardon me. Sunny and Luna stared at one another. He could tell that she was as astounded as he was at this new coincidence. More and more it seemed that he and Luna were meant to be, and that there was definitely something different about them. You, began Luna, you somehow control it, like level it out? No, not exactly. I grit my teeth just so that I can bear it. Then I envision my energy building, and then I send it out, emit it, in a pulse or flash, I guess. Extraordinary, whispered Marie. But that's what drained me. He looked at Luna, and she exhaled a quiet noise of understanding. So, what happens to you? He asked her. She looked away, surprising him. He had expected her to tell him excitedly, but she looked disturbed instead. Luna, he gently prompted her. I get the swooping, she began as she stared at her fingers, but I don't flashlight. What happens then? He asked. Luna looked even sadder. She shook her head. Darling, began Marie, but Luna shot her a look that seemed to shut Marie up. So Marie turned to Sunny. You said that this Brayborn fellow assists those with intuition. Yeah, that's what my dad said Sunny, still curious about what Luna was thinking about. Even though she looked pissed, he could somehow feel that she was actually afraid. Yeah, this is not the time to tell her about the dark, he thought. Then I believe you should call that number immediately, said Marie. Yeah, he replied, I guess so. He took out his card from his back pocket and looked at it. I still can't believe that this is all happening, he thought. Where's the phone, Auntie? Luna asked. Right here, darling. Marie handed the white cordless handset to Luna. Oh, what time would it be in Europe right now? Oh my, said Marie as her eyes seemed to search for something above her head. Let's see. Europe would be... Depends on where in Europe, but about 8 hours ahead of us. Oh, said Luna. Well, then it's probably early morning over there. She put the phone on speaker, took a deep breath, and dialed the number. It rang twice, and then sounded as if it was automatically transferred before it was answered. No one said hello. It buzzed, clicked, and then went silent. Luna was about to hang up when a recording came on. The computer-generated female voice said, You may press a number at any time during this recording. If you are calling only for yourself, please press 1. If you are calling for yourself and another card holder, please press 2. She pressed 2. Wow, you can never get a live person anymore, she thought. A few clicks later, the voice spoke again. Please enter the numbers printed on the back of your card. Luna hurriedly took her card out of her back pocket and turned it over. 102. She pressed the buttons. More clicking, and then the voice spoke again. Please enter your date of birth. Luna pressed the buttons. Please enter the number on the back of the second person's card. Luna flipped Sunny's card over. 90. She pushed the buttons for Sunny. More clicking. Please enter the second person's date of birth. Luna entered Sunny's birth date. More clicking followed by silence. Finally it clicked and the voice spoke again. Your call has been registered. 2 card holders have been registered. Please travel immediately to Ferris Road, Perth, Scotland, in the United Kingdom. The voice spelled out the place names. If you cannot find a way to this location, please press 1 now. Luna glanced at Marie. Marie shrugged as if to say, no problem. Do not bring any unregistered persons. When you have arrived at that location, please call this number again and enter your code at any time. Your code is 248. Thank you for calling Brayburn. The call was disconnected. Luna sat staring at the phone in her hand. No one said anything for a few moments. Scotland? Oh, she thought. He thought he didn't want to go on an 8-hour, probably longer trip to Scotland, not right then, but it didn't look like he had a choice. Perth, Scotland is quite a distance away, dearest, said Marie. Your father would insist I chaperone, at least for the plane ride. But the voice said not to bring anyone, said Luna. I'm afraid they won't help us if we bring you. Aunt Marie looked deeply worried. Auntie, said Luna softly, sounding very mature, womanly. You're right. Sonny and I are different. So that means we have a different path to travel than others. And it's obvious to me now that this path is dangerous. Look at what happened to Mom and Dad. Luna's voice tightened up when she said Mom and Dad. Sonny set his hand gently on her knee. I don't want anything to happen to you, Auntie, whispered Luna, obviously trying not to cry. You might be all the family I have left. Marie gazed sadly at Luna, tears in her eyes. Oh, love, she said, just be a dear and call me as soon as you can. Luna smiled weakly. Of course. Marie smiled just as weakly. Good. I'll give you a phone so you have something as soon as you get there. Your parents could show up at any moment, and I'll need to tell them where you are, especially because of the problem. Luna seemed worried about what Marie was going to say next, and Sonny got the feeling that she and her aunt needed to be alone. It took a great deal of strength, but he stood up. I need the restroom, he said. Marie pointed to the hall on her right. He felt like he weighed thousands of pounds. It took so much strength just to walk. Change in perspective. You know which problem I'm talking about, don't you, dear? Marie asked once Sonny had closed the bathroom door. Yes, Auntie. The men with gold dragon tattoos around their wrists. Marie shuddered. Ugh. We still don't know who they are or what they want, love. I know, but it's not them. Not so far, anyway. I think it's either Sonny the people are chasing us are after, or that I may have gotten involved with the wrong people back in Hong Kong. Oh, I see. Auntie, Luna said. My intuition is telling me that Scotland is where Sonny and I need to go. But it's also telling me that there will be a lot of changes ahead. I had a reading by an old psychic in Mexico a long time ago. She told me I would bring change, a lot of change, to the whole world. And then, when she saw my future, she got so scared that she died. Oh, my, breathed Marie. Auntie, continued Luna, I can't promise that I'll keep in touch, especially if this Brayburn guy is so secretive. I don't even want to take the risk of involving MIS right now. But I do promise that I'll keep in contact if I can, and that I'll keep looking for Mom and Dad too. And they'll probably know where to find Brayburn. Marie looked at Luna as if she felt sorry for her, but also with, was it respect? Luna, darling, I have learned to always trust my intuition. It has helped me numerous times in my business dealings and a variety of other issues. I personally have found that if one listens to it, things work out well. If one does not, well then, things get complicated. I know you must follow your heart. What you feel is right. And I also know that, well, you're practically an adult now, and, well, my intuition is telling me that you'll be fine. At least in the immediate future. Luna smiled brightly through her tears. So did Marie. Thank you, Auntie. And don't worry. I have your numbers memorized. I'll call you. Whenever I can, or if I need you. I promise. All right, whispered Marie. Be brave, my good and special darling. Emotions overflowing, Luna gave her aunt a long hug. She realized that this could be her last hug with her aunt. She had no way of knowing. She had to appreciate everyone she loved, now and for the rest of her life. God, watch out for Aunt Marie, please, she thought. Sonny re-entered the room, and Luna pulled away from her aunt to look at him. She could tell by his wet bangs that he had washed his face. Or maybe he splashed water on his face to stay awake. That must be so horrible, to be so exhausted right now when we have to keep going, she thought. Excuse me, said Marie, sniffling but getting a hold of herself as she stood up. I'll go call in a favor at the airport and make the arrangements for my personal driver and bodyguard to take you to there right away. A small private jet will fly you out to New York, and then you can take another plane to Scotland. As Marie stepped out of the room, Sonny plopped down on the green love seat next to Luna. I can almost feel how tired you are, said Luna before even deciding to speak. He looked at her as if surprised, but then he seemed embarrassed. It's not that bad, he grumbled as he bent over to hold his head in his hands. You have to be pretty tired too. Yeah, totally. We can sleep in the car on the way to the airport and then on the plane, suggested Luna gently, rubbing his back. Change in perspective. 6 a.m., Wraith Facility, Dublin, Ireland. Murdoch Crowley had been doing a combination of waiting and communicating with Schultz all night, and now had important news for Billy. The news would confirm his master's meditation last night, but would also enrage Billy, and Crowley wasn't looking forward to telling him. Granted entry to Billy's office, he walked up to Billy, who was wearing his black cloak and kneeling on the floor before his magic altar. It's too early for bullshit, Crowley, warned Billy, standing up and removing his cloak. He wasn't wearing a shirt, just his black leather pants and steel-toed boots. His muscular, tattooed-covered physique always reminded Crowley how powerful Billy was, how he could kill small, slender Crowley with his own hands. What'd you find out? Your news better be worth disturbing me morning rituals, or it's an earboxing for you. Crowley knew his boss wasn't joking, except about the punishment. It wouldn't be an earboxing he'd get. It would be a flogging, or worse. Billy sat down and kicked his feet up. Spit it out, Crowley. This news is directly from the Dark Leader, Master. Billy popped open a large can of energy drink and took a gulp. Oh, well. Well then, by all means, he sneered with a wave of an open hand. Master, your meditation regarding the American teens, your intuition was quite correct. The optimal strike window occurred last night. Billy banged his feet to the floor, sitting up at full attention, but his interest quickly morphed back to annoyance. I expected as much. But what about the one? Have you found them? Crowley's stomach twisted painfully. No, Master. There's no news about that person. Billy sprung up and threw his almost full can of energy drink across the room to smash against the wall just above Crowley's head. Crowley ducked just in time. God damn it! Billy picked up his chair with an angry yell and threw that too, shattering it to pieces against the wall next to his desk. He spun around to face his altar, and when he spun back around the next instant, he had his legendary 1,000-year-old ebony and onyx wand in his hand, and he was pointing it at Crowley. Crowley did his best not to piss himself. This could be his last moment of life. I want that person now! Do you hear me, Crowley? I don't want to hear no more excuses. Of course, master. Please don't curse me. We're doing our best. It ain't good enough, 'cause it ain't fast enough. I need that person. Now! Crowley dropped to his knees. I apologize, sire, but please have mercy. Mercy! Billy whispered incredulously. Now completely terrified, Crowley covered his head and face with his arms and hands. Where's the mercy for me? Billy asked. I said I want that person. I need that person. And what's happened? I've been waiting for years. Years, Crowley. So now I ask you, where's me mercy? Billy was shouting with all his might, screaming with frustration. Trying to save his own life, Crowley told Billy the news he came to tell him as quickly as he could. Master, the 2 brothers and the girls, all 3 have escaped and the girl, all 3 have escaped and disappeared, and the men in black, they've been sent back to hell, just like the hellhound. We've no wraiths stronger than they to take over. It seems that you will have to summon more wraiths, strong wraiths, because because all we have left are the security and investigatory shadow wraiths. That's what I've come to tell you. Please don't kill me, sire. Crowley, his head in his hands, couldn't see what Billy was doing, but he could hear how heavily his very angry boss was breathing. He lifted his head a little to peek at Billy. Billy had put his wand down and placed his open palms onto the surface of his desk, but he was still wild-eyed. His nostrils flared with each breath. He looked so angry that it was as if he were about to explode or kill. That's what had happened to Billy's first personal informant, when that first informant told Billy that they hadn't found the mysterious one old Cronus had told him about. Billy beat him to death. Billy was staunchly secretive about the one. He didn't want the one he was looking for to suspect anything about his quest to find them, and had forbidden knowledge of the name and gender of that person from most of his staff, including Crowley. Only the agent looking for the person and Billy knew who the person was. Over time, Crowley had come to realize that finding the one was the most important thing in the world to Billy, and it was so especially true in this moment. Billy stood up straight, his expression still terrible. Summon a new race hasn't been done for over 600 years. We haven't had to. This idiot leader of ours, he's going to get us all killed. Anger flamed in Billy's eyes. I should just go to his headquarters, kill him and all his men, and fucking take over. Oh no, master. Please don't say things like that. Not out loud, anyway. He might hear you. Billy ignored Crowley. He seemed to be working something out in his head. I'll have my ancestors' grimoires brought to me so I can learn which wraiths to summon and how, he said. In the meantime, send the shadow wraiths to do what they can. Now, you said before that our frightening leader had a plan if they escaped. So, what is it? Change in perspective. As Marie hustled Luna and Sunny to the waiting car, she gave Luna a cell phone that would work in Europe, and Luna programmed it with Brayburn's number. Marie then handed them each a heavy coat. This is mine, and this other belonged to, well, an old flame who left it behind and never picked it up, said Marie. I've been to Scotland before. Beautiful country, but it can be a little chilly at times. Thanks, Auntie, Luna said, putting the pink and blue ski jacket on. Sunny put the red and blue men's jacket on. Now, I've packed a few items for you in this bag, including a false ID and passport that I had my staff prepare tonight with all speed for you, Luna, said Marie as she held out a pink and purple designer travel bag. Luna took it. Wow, It always takes Dad's friends several days to get our fake IDs made. I guess rich people can have anything they want, and quickly, thought Sunny. I think Sunny had a great idea when it comes to that. Marie nodded at Sunny as she said that with a grateful expression. I've used a false ID once or twice in my life, she continued with obviously forced cheer. Better safe than sorry. And what you and MIS said about the police? How they can't seem to be trusted at the moment. She trailed off, becoming pale. Luna glanced at Sunny with sad puppy dog eyes. Well, anyway, there are also snacks in the bag, the phone's charger, a first aid kit, toiletries, makeup and hair supplies, and, well, all sorts of goodies. Marie's tone had regained its previous strength. I do hope I haven't forgotten anything. You know how I forget things when I'm rattled. It's okay, Auntie, said Luna comfortingly. Don't worry. If we need anything else, we'll just buy it. Sunny took the pretty bag from Luna, lifted his shirt, plucked his fake passport out of the waist of his jeans, and then slid it into the side pocket of the bag. He turned to Luna's aunt. Thanks for all your help, Ms. Martin, he said as he held his hand out. She ignored his hand and gave him a big hug. Oh, Sunny dear, she laughed. You can call me Marie. Then she whispered, Thank you for being there for our precious Luna. Please, take care of her. They broke their embrace and both looked over at Luna. God, she's so beautiful, thought Sunny. Even in this stressful moment, she still glowed. Yeah, no need for thanks, Marie, he thought. Luna hugged and kissed her aunt, and then her aunt calling last-minute reminders about phoning, and then, when they couldn't hear her any more, just waving, the shiny black sedan pulled away. Sunny didn't think Luna saw it, but he noticed that as Marie went back into the house, she had one hand over her mouth as if she was about to cry. The car underway, Sunny and Luna looked at each other. She's so far away, all the way across the car, he thought. I feel like I'm so far away from you, she murmured. A sleepy smile crept onto his face. You are. To his surprise, she undid her seatbelt, slid over to him, clicked on the middle seatbelt, and then laid her head on his shoulder as he folded his arms around her. She breathed out, cuddling in his arms. My thoughts exactly, he thought. Feeling the comforting peace that he always felt when he held her, Sunny pulled her legs over his lap, laid his head back against the headrest, and promptly passed out. Change in perspective. They had been on the road to the airport for 20 minutes. Sunny was out, completely, but not Luna. She was so awake and wound up by fear and the excitement of the night that there was no way she could sleep, and she felt like she had to protect Sunny in his diminished state. But in his arms, she still had that feeling, that same feeling of peace, as though they were in some sort of heaven. She knew that she could feel his energy. It felt good, like sunshine. That's so cool, because his name is Sunny, she thought. As they pulled off of the freeway towards the airport, an icy wisp of air blew across her forearm. Sunny jerked in his sleep, and all the hair on her arm where the breeze had touched her stood straight up. A feeling of dread came over her. Oh no, what's going on? Please, God, don't let anything else bad happen, she thought. Her thoughts were interrupted by another cold breeze. Her heart skipped a beat. This time, she followed its trajectory with her eyes. It was a shadow. One of those shadows that used to plague her at night as a child. Her heart racing and mouth gaping, she watched the shadow as it flowed along the back of the front seat and then into the front with the driver and bodyguard. The driver jumped, which made the car swerve. Oh, she cried. The driver righted the car. Sorry about that, miss, he apologized when he looked at the bodyguard, and then he looked at the bodyguard angrily. Why'd you do that? What? I didn't do anything. You didn't just bump my elbow?" "No," replied the bodyguard. "Why would I do that?" "Oh my God," thought Luna. The bodyguard was annoyed now and stared angrily out of his passenger side window. Luna had a feeling she had to keep watching the bodyguard and found out why the next moment. Suddenly the bodyguard's face was pushed hard against the window by nothing. "Ow!" he yelled. He turned to the driver and then punched him in the arm that held the steering wheel. The car swerved dangerously again. A little squeal escaped Luna's lips. Sunny stayed sleeping. "Ow! What the hell?" yelled the driver at the bodyguard. "You just shoved my face into the window." "No, I didn't." "Oh, yeah? Well, who else could have done it?" As they pulled up to the drop-off zone at San Francisco International Airport, Luna was super glad that they were there and woke Sunny with a gentle nudge. Or 3. "We're here. Sunny, we're at the airport." Sunny peeled his eyes open slowly. They were so red and puffy that Luna felt terrible for him. The bodyguard opened Sunny's car door. With great effort, Sunny unbuckled his seatbelt and then got out of the car. Luna grabbed the bag, unbuckled herself, and then scooted across the seat to take Sunny's extended hand. "I'll be right back, Jim," the bodyguard told the driver as he moved to help Luna and Sunny. Luna sucked in her breath, surprised to hear her father's name. But it's not Dad, she thought. She fought the urge to cry. Hard. The whole time they stood waiting for their fake IDs to be checked out by airport security, Luna could barely stay still from nerves. But the documents actually passed, and Luna felt a little better. As the bodyguard turned away, Luna could have sworn that she saw the shadow flow off of him along the ground and then into the shuttle. "I hope that was just a trick of the eye," she thought. As soon as Luna entered the shuttle, she glanced around and didn't see any trace of the shadow. After the ride to the tarmac, as she and Sunny were boarding the small private plane Marie had chartered for them, she saw the shadow again, flowing along the ground and then up the wheel into the aircraft. "Oh no! Please, please, God, protect us," she thought. The inside of the seemingly brand new plane was very elegant. Sunny secured their bag in the overhead stow area and then plopped down into one of the sumptuous white leather seats. Luna sat down in the seat next to him, glancing around nervously. I think dark spirits got on the plane with us. I saw shadows moving in the car and then in the shuttle, and now I'm pretty sure I just saw one get on the plane." Sunny didn't say anything. Luna somehow knew he was thinking about he was already so drained that it was probably not a good idea for him to try using his energy again. "The shadow spirits I've encountered don't seem to be dangerous. They're not even half as strong as the dog or the men in suits," he said. "They seem to like to scare kids and to annoy older people. And I'm not even sure if all shadow spirits are dark. Actually, I think this one is. In the car, it made the driver and bodyguard fight. I thought we might get into an accident." Shit. A very serious expression on his face. Sunny scanned the inside of the plane. Luna was scanning too. He glanced at the exit. "Can't stay here in San Francisco," we can't stay here in San Francisco," she just about wailed. "And it's probably gonna follow us anywhere we go anyway. What are we gonna do?" Sunny seemed to think for a moment. "Well, I guess we risk it. Don't seem to have a choice, do we? Just let me know if you see it again." Just then the plane took off, obviously surprising Sunny. He grabbed his armrests and bent one. "Oops," he said. "I've never been on a plane before." Thrown into somewhat of a daze from witnessing his demonstration of incredible strength, all she managed to get out was, yeah, takeoff can be stressful for some people." "Stressful," he murmured as the craft lifted into the air. "Yeah." Luna knew he was more worried about the shadow than the plane ride. Of course he was. He was probably planning on using his light flash to get rid of it, and he was already so depleted of energy. She was just about to ask if that was what he was thinking when she saw it, the shadow. It flowed along the wall and disappeared into the cockpit. Sunny sat up straight. I saw it. He answered her unasked question. He opened his mouth as if to say something more, but then they heard arguing coming from the cockpit. Loud, angry arguing, and then the plane suddenly dipped. Sunny and Luna grabbed onto their seats. Sunny yelled, "Fuck!" Luna screamed. Sunny undid his seatbelt and stood up, but frighteningly, the plane began to climb high into the air. It dipped again and then climbed again. Screaming with all their might, Luna glanced at Sunny. A terrible look was now on his face as he gripped two seats for balance, gritting his teeth and squinting his eyes. He closed his eyes, and the brightest light she had ever seen filled the plane cabin with the whole of her vision, filling her with an overwhelming feeling of love and energy. The plane righted itself and began to fly smoothly just as she heard a thump. Sunny was face down on the floor of the plane. "Oh no, Sunny!" She undid her seatbelt, threw herself down onto the floor with him, and then shook him hard. "Sunny? Sunny, wake up!" But he wouldn't wake this time. "Sunny!" He was breathing, but wouldn't wake. Gently, she rolled him over onto his back and then sat next to him, smoothing his bangs out of his eyes. "Oh, Sunny, thank you," she whispered. "Don't worry, I'll take care of you. Nothing will happen to you, I promise." But now that Sunny was completely out, she was even more afraid. What if the shadows came? What if they ended up dying all because Luna didn't know how to use her energy as Sunny did? The fear built in her, every second building and building. "Stop it, you're not helping," she thought. But Luna couldn't stop it. She felt all alone without Sunny, and her fear was heightened even more the very next moment when she saw that what she realized must be yet another shadow as it crept into the cockpit. "Oh no," she whispered. Almost immediately, the plane began to experience more disturbance. As she screamed, it shuddered and shook, dipped and climbed. Luna did her best not to let Sunny roll and hit anything, but he hit his cheekbone on the bottom of his chair, cutting his beautiful face. Bright red blood began to ooze from his cut, and that was it. Luna launched into a panic attack. The strange, milky vision coupled with intense fear that made her want to back up the plane's walls hit her with a power she'd never experienced before. Already strong, the fear kept building its own power within her. She was petrified. It was taking over. The swooping sensation began. She closed her eyes tight and shook her head. She opened her eyes. The rainbow geometric shapes were dancing before them, the swooping, the enormous to the infinitely small, practically driving her crazy. She knew this was part of how Sunny got rid of the dark spirits. "But I don't know what I'm doing," she thought. The plane shook and shuddered, driving her fear to a crescendo she'd never known existed. Desperately, she attempted to control her building energy, and she closed her eyes to concentrate. Heart. Flash of light. Flash of light from my heart. Flash. Light. Heart. But nothing happened. The swooping, coupled with the erratic movements of the jet, was almost unbearable. She grabbed her head with one hand and gripped Sunny's hand with the other and burst into tears. The trip had just begun. They hadn't even been in the air for 10 minutes. Even if she somehow got rid of the shadow the way Sunny had, how many more would replace it? How many times would they need to get rid of these things? What if her body reacted as Sunny's did, and as soon as she was unconscious from using her energy, another shadow came and made certain the plane crashed? In that moment, a moment of sheer fear and desperation. She wished with all of her heart that she and Sunny were already in Scotland, already on Ferris Road in Perth, where they would be safe with Braeburn. Suddenly, she heard a high-pitched noise and a small black ring in the air directly in front of her face that seemed to be twisting the fabric of time and space. Then she felt her consciousness being pulled toward the ring. She gripped Sunny's hand harder, and then she was flying, seemingly at light speed, through a dark tunnel toward a light. The next second, she was on the side of a road, and it was daytime. Sunny was lying next to her, asleep, his hand still in hers. So exhausted she could barely think to even be confused about how they got there. Her eyes began to close, and it felt as if the ground were pulling her down. She was fighting for consciousness. Squinting as she slowly lay down, she looked up to see the sign of the road they were on. Ferry's Road. Oh, she thought. With all of her strength, she took Marie's cell phone out of her back pocket and then hit speed dial. As soon as Braeburn's service answered, she entered her code, 248. The computer-generated voice said, "Your code has been accepted. Please wait where you are. An unmarked sedan is being sent to pick you up. It will flash its headlights twice at you. Please hasten to enter the vehicle when it arrives. Thank you for calling Braeburn." The call automatically hung up. Sinking into darkness, Luna lay her head down on the hard ground, where everything faded away. That's it. That's the end. And I'll read this part. It's not part of the chapter, but it's at the end. I love and believe in humanity, and that it is possible for human beings to achieve anything we set our minds to. And that is exactly what this tale is all about. It is my deepest wish that this story provide not simply entertainment, but inspiration, hope, and above all, a change in your perception. There you go. Now, for those of you who really enjoyed that, fear not, there's another book. A whole other book of what happens after that. And I haven't been writing the third book as much as I would like to, but I'm not going to give up until this whole story is completely written out and published. And the purpose is to teach about energy, to teach about perception, to teach about all this stuff, but in an entertaining way. That's how Spirit wanted me to do it, and that's what I'm going to do. So if you want to help me out, share this video, tell your friends about it, please purchase my books, and if you find a way to help me out, please let me know. So there you go, everyone. That was really enjoyable. Thank you for spending your time with me. See you later.